Have you ever looked at a blank wall and wished you could add something truly unique, something that tells a story and feels alive to the touch? Something that stands out not just visually, but also physically. Creating texture in recycled wall art is all about incorporating diverse materials and techniques that add depth and tactile interest to your pieces. It transforms a flat surface into a three-dimensional experience, inviting viewers to engage with your art on a deeper level. The magic of texture comes from light interaction and physical form. When light hits an uneven surface, it creates shadows and highlights, making the artwork appear more dynamic and rich. Different materials naturally possess distinct textures, from the rough grain of wood to the smooth sheen of plastic, and combining these elements builds intricate visual and sensory layers. To begin creating texture, gather various recycled items like corrugated cardboard, bottle caps, fabric scraps, old plastic containers cut into shapes, or even crumpled aluminum foil. You can glue these objects directly onto your chosen base, which could be an old canvas, a piece of salvaged wood, or even a sturdy piece of flattened cardboard. Experiment with layering materials, perhaps placing smaller objects on top of larger ones to build height. For a subtle yet impactful texture, try applying a thick layer of joint compound or repurposed plaster, then carving into it or pressing items like lace or netting onto its surface before it dries completely. Another wonderful method is to tear up old paper or fabric into strips, soaking them in a mixture of glue and water, and then molding them onto your surface, allowing them to dry into interesting forms. Consider using unconventional tools to create patterns, like a fork to make grooves in wet paint or a toothbrush to splatter flecks of color onto a textured surface. Remember that texture is not just about the items you glue down, but also how you manipulate your mediums. For example, painting with a palette knife instead of a brush can create thick, impasto-like strokes that add a beautiful, three-dimensional quality to your colors. By intentionally combining and manipulating recycled materials and simple art supplies, you are not just making art, you are crafting a sensory journey. Your textured wall art will not only be visually captivating, but it will also invite touch and spark curiosity, turning discarded items into cherished conversations, starters that truly bring your space to life.